Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's a little warmer today. It's like 35. So I figured this is the perfect opportunity to install the Diode Designs mirror light brackets and the Diode Dynamics SSC1 Pros with a wide lens. That's the important part, wide lens. I think the wide lens will go really good right about there. So we're going to do the install. It's super simple. It's one bolt, throw the bracket on, do some plastic trimming, and mount the light up, run some wires. And having the Garmin switch is, the Garmin power switch is a lifesaver. It makes things so easy to run your wires. Literally put light where light needs to go, run wires to power switch, you're done. Can't get much easier than that. So I'm going to try to get some of that. So let's get to it. So this is the area in question. This nifty little mount comes out right about there. So what we need to do, we need to take this off. There's one bolt. Replace it. Replace the bolt with the bolt provided. And you're done. I lied. You have to trim this plastic out for the bracket. These brackets are super nice. Ian does a great job. The powder coating on them is great. The fitment is great. Everything is cut really well. Let's see if I can get it. There. So let's get to it. All right, guys, you have to forgive me. I'm doing this one-handed because I don't have a tripod yet. So this piece just pops right off. You're able to grab the backside with your fingers sometimes and pop, or you can use a pry tool, non-marring pry tool, and get in there. Now that we're in there, we want to try to get to that bolt right there. So, open up the door. Don't have to go that far. About right there is where I want to be. Now, I'm going to do this left-handed, which I am not. You just pull this bolt out. Save it. Always save. Always save your bolts, because you never know. Okay. So, pop it out. Let's try this. I put you on a ladder. I'm going to try to show you guys this. This is the easiest install you're ever going to do. All right. We're going to throw this in. Now, before I tighten this down, I put a piece of cardboard in there. Set it against the fender. I don't want a lot of gap. I just want a little. So, we're going to tighten this bad boy down. Make sure cardboard still moves. Cardboard moves. Give her a little twist. Cardboard out. Mounting bracket is in. Did it stay focused, or did it focus on the mirror? Okay. So, this piece, as you can tell, that bracket is going to come out down here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to set this, I'm going to set this on here. And I know from doing the other side, if I line up the top hole and go there, and I know roughly the thickness of the bracket and how much I'm spaced, I can add that space. So I just mark where this bracket is. I don't worry about this back side, I just go all the way back. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back and show you. So you can kind of see, you just grind a little off, do a test fit. So I can already tell you, I gotta take some more off, over in this area, and over. Took just a little more off. Test fit, ooh, that's nice. I can feel, sorry, I'm in the camera's way. Bam, just like that. Just like that. She's in there nice and tight. Nice tight fit. So I'm going to actually pull it back out. And I already know where my wire needs to go. So I'm going to go ahead and grind a little more out for the wire from the light. All right, so it's best to start little and work your way up. Try to take the least amount off as you can. So I already know that's going to work right where I want my wire to go through. So next thing, mount the light. So I am running this Diode Dynamics SSC1 Pro, amber backlight, and a wide lens. Let me throw this together quick, and we'll be right back to throw it on. Okay, so the light is thrown together. Come around this way. I like the head of the Allen on the outside. I don't like seeing the big ugly nut. Bracket's pretty simple. Carriage bolt thrown in. You have 2 washers. You have a lock washer and a nut. Now, I do not know if this is the way it's supposed to go, but this is the way I did it on the other side. The thinner washer is used like a spacer for the carriage bolt. Throw these together, throw them on there, bam. Pretty simple. Now, I'm not going to get too worked up about getting this the way I want it to match the other side yet. This is still loose, this is still loose. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is run the wiring from this light down along the bracket, down into the fender, and right to my power switch. Okay, so I gotta do this kind of not wrong, but not right. So I bought their light duty harness, not realizing the light came with pigtails. These lights come with pigtails in the box. I did not read what came in the box. I did not realize that. Also, I bought these before I bought the power switch. So, win-win in reality. So I'm going to plug this in to the light, get a rough idea how much I need, and then I will cut their harness and use their harness with their loom over it, and then rewire the ends to go to the power switch. Okay, I have determined the amount that I need is way more than I need. Sorry, you guys are out of focus. Bam. So I'm just going to cut that off. Because we're not using their switch. Okay, as you guys can see, my power and ground is off of the power switch. This side is the passenger side, already wired. This mount I made for the power switch to go in this specific area. I feel like this area fits the Honda Passport the best. I thought about mounting it here. Didn't like the way the wires were going to run. I thought about mounting it to the air box, decided against that. Thought about mounting it on top of the fuse box like everybody else. I just didn't feel like it was the best solution for my needs. I figured having this piece of metal bent, mounted to the fender, it's out of the way. I have plenty of room. It does not impede anything. My wires are short. My power is really short because, as we know, the battery is right here on a Passport and the ground is right here. I'm grounding to the chassis here for my lights themselves. This is going to change. This is just temporary. I forgot to order a grounding block. So this will be it for now. The grounding block will probably get mounted right here. All this stuff has also got to get hooked up to this power switch, so all this wiring will disappear. So let's just start here and get this thing wired up. Okay. Now that's pulled down through there. I run it on this side, on the inner side of the hood latch. That way I know I can keep it up against the windshield wiper shroud and not have any issues with it getting pinched here. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie my wires. I'm left with this lead. I cut this long to make sure that I had plenty of room. But it's going, all these wires will get terminated the same way. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm first going to figure out where this loom needs to come off. I think I'm going to pull it off back here. I'm going to expose all these wires. That way I can run a piece of heat shrink down over the loom to hold it in place to make sure everything is nice, tight, sealed. Looks pretty. So I will go ahead and do that and get back to you. Loom is off. Going to slide heat shrink down. Pull the loom tight. Make sure heat shrink goes over the loom. Now I like about 50-50. I want 50% of the loom back inside of the heat shrink and 50% out. So let's go ahead and melt that. This heat shrink has an adhesive inside, so it sticks really well to this holy cow. Yeah. Wire loom. Now we're going to do the wires, which pretty simple. So these are the only ones I have. I thought I had some smaller ones, so I had to take my grinder, just grind a little bit of them off on the sides in order to fit on the power switch terminals. My bad, my fault. I did not look, and I don't live near town, so I'm just going to make do with what I got. So, I am terminating these separately from one another, so it's easy to pull this harness out from each light if I ever have to. If I ever wanted to change something, whatever it may be, I can just unplug it from the light, take it out here. If I want to change this wiring up later on, I can. I've left myself plenty of wire on this one. I can shorten a lot of this stuff up. So I'm going to go ahead, take my yellow. My yellow is going to be really short. Take it right here. These flush cuts are not meant for this, but that's what I'm doing. Whoops. I'm going to cut that. Very sorry if you guys are out of focus. This is not ideal to do it this way, but I really want to show you this. Anybody can do this. This is a very easy modification to make. It takes no time at all to do, and honestly very little skill. So I'm going to grab a piece of heat shrink. I'm using red, obviously, for power. Take this extra piece of wire that I cut off, put them side by side, twist them, stuff them into my terminal, and crimp. I have a wiring buddy that has a channel on here. His name is Dave, and he's probably watching me right now cringing. Like, what in the hell are you doing, Nate? Well, I'm doing what I can in the cold and with what I got. So I'm gonna take my lighter, melt this heat shrink. Okay, heat shrink mounted. I could hear the adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and connect this to the yellow, which I have set to switch number 1. I might end up having to do this a little differently because the ditch lights that are on my hood are going to change to a Diode Dynamic as well. And I don't think I'll be able to get all of my terminals. I want them to turn on with these, and I don't know if I'll be able to get all the terminals in here the way I want. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down so I don't forget. Now, repeat process. This is where OCD kicks in. I don't know how well you guys can see this area right here. I want to run this blue wire along this other power wire, along with this blue wire, and straight up like this. I think. If I do that though, because my blue wire comes out on the opposite side of this yellow, the yellow and black are going to cross. Unless I run them both down. And then they still cross. We're gonna do that, guys. I have my blue wire trimmed. I have my filler wire trimmed. I'm going to twist them together. I'm going to take this terminal, slide it over just like the last one. I already have my heat shrink on there. Now, I'm going to make sure that this terminal is clocked in the direction that I want it clocked, the way the wire naturally wants to lay. Just helps you in the long run. Just like that. Perfect. Put this on there. Take my crimp tool. I'm going to just crimp this lug on there. Just like that. Now, you don't have to get this OCD. I always like the indentation of my crimp on the top. And if I do it on the top, all of them are on the top. I just feel better about it when they're all the same. So now I'm gonna shrink the heat shrink. Okay, heat shrink is on. I'm going to pull this fastener out. Excuse me. I'm going to slide it back in. Now, these lay together. Same with those. As soon as I get this black one done and crimped off, I want it to lay under the blue and follow the other black one, but it's going to go something like that. I learned building these harnesses, not necessarily on your small heat shrink, but your bigger heat shrink, your 1 inch and bigger, stuff that shrinks a lot, good Raychem heat shrink. If you start shrinking at your terminal end first, it'll suck down and won't have the tendency to want to slide back or pull back on you. And you know that you're covered where you want to be covered. I cover my terminals a little more with heat shrink than most. I like the look. They still ground perfectly. They still get power perfectly. I just prefer my heat shrink to come up my terminal just a little bit more for those just in case moments. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, pull this bolt out. Like I said, this is very temporary. I've got more lights to install. I'll probably install them tomorrow. But I do not have a grounding block to do this the way I want to do it. So it's just going to have to work for now. If I have to, I will run a ground from my battery up to this ground to help this ground. I've already tested these lights. I know that this is a good ground. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. I don't like doing it here, but at the moment, I've got no choice. Now see, that wire did not, it's cocked okay. Okay. So I'll go through, before I zip tie this stuff, let's try this. Let me put the power and ground back on, and we'll give it a shot. Okay guys, we are going to throw a couple zip ties on these wires. Just to make sure everything looks good, nice and tidy. This power switch, as I was saying earlier, is an absolute lifesaver. On this model, on the Passport, finding a place to run wire inside of a vehicle is not easy. They did not make that an easy task. So, let me get you guys set back up and we will get the light mounted in a semi-permanent area, and then we will go out and test them. As you can see, I have my wires already ran. I have my plastic back on. So I'm going to get this kind of finalized where it's gonna live. So I need this ratchet, this ratchet. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna shut my door all the way. And I'm going to take a peek at the other side and just eyeball it. The light itself, on the down angle, I already kind of know what I want. grab the wrong size. There. Now, I'm going to leave them a little loose so I can mess with them later. But what I want to do now is get both sides set kind of the same distance out and same angle. And what it looks like on the other side is I am almost all the way out, or real close to being all the way out. I am about a 45-degree off of the car. Okay. Now, let's show it to you. So here's the light mounted. I love the look. It's very simple. I think it's going to be great. So, let's try that backlight. Wow. Wow. Love it. Now, bam. Love it. Let's clean up and go try it. All right, guys. I'm not out in the middle of nowhere yet. I am currently at a little wooded area that we have right outside my town. Once I show you here, then we'll go out into the open and go from there. So let me flip you. We'll just drive back in here a little ways. Now these are just the factory dims. We don't have a lot of wooded areas out here, so I went with the wide light for the wide open coverage. I didn't go with a flood because we don't have a lot of really close, tight spaces like other places would. So I didn't feel the flood would be super beneficial for me. But, as you can tell, I'll just go ahead and turn them on. Yeah, they make a little bit of a difference. Turn them off so we don't blind that car going by. Here's a good representation, I think. I got them aimed a little high again. Like I said, we don't have tight spaces out here. We don't have a lot of trails that are wooded. This is one of the most wooded areas I'm going to ever get to. I figure before I leave, I'll show you what it's like with my windows up. Our windows have 15% ceramic tint all the way around. That gives you guys an idea. Factory brights. All right. So now you guys have seen what the wide pattern in the Pro Series light looks like. let's go out into the open and see how far that beam actually travels. I'm out here, straight piece of road. It is flat. Like, it is flat. Let me roll out my window. There's a little bit of light pollution, not too bad. So this is just the dims. There's the fog lights with the dims. Here is the ditch light. That's the mirror light. The fog lights are on, dims are on, fog lights, mirror light. Headlights and fog lights are on now with the mirror light. That's with both sets of ditch lights on. Come to the front. Yeah, guys, I'm happy with them for sure. Absolutely. All right, guys, it's the next day. I filmed an outro last night and realized most of the video, my mic wasn't on. So hopefully it's on now. But I wanted to say thank you for watching. I know it was a little long, but I figured some of you guys might want to see it. Now, watch out for another video. I'm going to start mounting some lights. So thank you guys for watching. Highly appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.